HOA Karen complained about my backyard range, so I landed a Chinook full of veterans. Have you ever wondered what happens when a petty complaint collides with a tidal wave of patriotism and precision? In the quiet cul-de-sac of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and cookie-cutter houses reign supreme, retired Army Colonel Jake "Hawk" Thompson was enjoying his slice of hard-earned peace. At 62, with salt and pepper hair and a steely gaze forged in 3 tours overseas, Jake had settled into a life of tinkering in his garage and maintaining a small, private shooting range in his sprawling backyard. It was his sanctuary, a place to hone his marksmanship, reflect on his service, and occasionally host fellow veterans for a day of camaraderie. The range was discreet, tucked behind a privacy fence, soundproofed with earthen berms, and fully permitted by the county. Jake had dotted every I and crossed every T, knowing the world was full of busybodies. Enter Karen Whitaker, the self-appointed queen of the Willow Creek HOA Karen, with her platinum bob and penchant for pastel cardigans, wielded her clipboard like a scepter. She thrived on enforcing rules real or imagined, and her eagle eyes had zeroed in on Jake's property. For months, she'd been sniffing around, peeved that his backyard didn't conform to her vision of suburban perfection. The faint pop of suppressed gunfire, even muffled by berms, sent her into a tizzy. One crisp Saturday morning, she stormed up Jake's driveway, her heels clicking like a metronome, and pounded on his door. "Mr. Thompson," she shrilled, waving a stack of HOA bylaws. "Your little gun range is a menace. It's disturbing the peace, scaring my Yorkie, and lowering property values. I'm giving you 1 week to dismantle it, or I'll have the board fine you into oblivion." Jake, calm as a sniper lining up a shot, leaned against the doorframe. "Ma'am, my range is legal, permitted, and sound compliant. You're welcome to check the county records." Karen's face reddened. "Don't you patronize me. I'll make sure you regret this." She spun on her heel and marched off, already dialing the HOA president. Jake wasn't fazed. He'd faced worse than Karen in Kandahar, but he knew she wouldn't stop. Sure enough, the complaints rolled in, letters from the HOA citing vague nuisance clauses, emails accusing him of militarizing the neighborhood, even a visit from the sheriff's deputy, who left after confirming Jake's permits were ironclad. Karen's campaign escalated when she posted a scathing rant on the neighborhood's Nextdoor app, painting Jake as a gun-obsessed vigilante endangering families. The post got traction, with a few Karens in training chiming in, but most neighbors stayed silent. Jake, however, noticed a quiet groundswell of support: veterans, hunters, and folks who valued liberty over HOA tyranny. Then came the twist. Enter Maria Lopez, a single mom and Army reservist who lived 2 streets over. Maria, with her quick wit and no-nonsense demeanor, had been quietly watching Karen's crusade. She'd served as a helicopter mechanic in Iraq and knew Jake from local veteran meetups. One evening, she knocked on his door, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Colonel, I heard about Karen's meltdown. I've got an idea to shut her up for good. You ever thought about hosting a Veteran Appreciation Day with a little air support?" Jake's grin widened. "Maria, you're speaking my language." The plan was audacious but precise. Jake leveraged his old Army connections, calling in favors from buddies still in the service. Maria coordinated logistics, rallying local veterans groups and securing a permit for a community event on Jake's property. They kept it hush-hush, knowing Karen's spies were everywhere. Meanwhile, Karen doubled down, slapping Jake with a $500 fine for unapproved structures, his range's berm, and scheduling an emergency HOA meeting to vote on banning all recreational firearms. She was so smug, she didn't notice the neighborhood buzzing with whispers. The morning of the HOA meeting dawned clear and bright. Karen, in a power suit and pearls, stood at the community center podium, ready to crucify Jake. "This man's obsession with guns threatens our children," she declared, as a dozen supporters nodded like bobbleheads. Jake wasn't there. He'd sent Maria as his proxy. Maria sat in the back, checking her watch, suppressing a smile. Outside, a low rumble grew louder, shaking the windows. Karen faltered mid-sentence. "What on earth?" The ground trembled as a SH-47 Chinook helicopter, its twin rotors thundering, descended onto Jake's backyard, a quarter-mile away but visible from the community center. The beast of a chopper kicked up dust, its ramp lowering to reveal 30 veterans, men and women of all ages, some in old fatigues, others with prosthetic limbs or service dog vests. They marched in formation toward the community center, led by Jake in his dress blues, his medals gleaming. Neighbors spilled out of their homes, phones recording, kids cheering. Karen's jaw dropped. Jake took the podium, his voice steady but commanding. "Ladies and gentlemen, I've served this country for 30 years. My backyard range is legal, safe, and a tribute to the men and women who've sacrificed for your freedom. Today, we're hosting a veteran appreciation event to honor those who've served and to remind this community what really matters." The veterans fanned out behind him, their presence a living testament. Maria stepped forward, holding up Jake's permits and a letter from the county affirming his compliance. "Mrs. Whitaker's complaints are baseless," she said. "And her fines? Illegal under state law." The room erupted. Neighbors who'd stayed quiet now clapped and cheered. Karen tried to interject, stammering about procedure. But the HOA president, a retired teacher named Tom, cut her off. "Karen, you've overstepped. We're tabling this vote." Humiliated, Karen fled the room, her pearls practically choking her. The veterans, unfazed, invited everyone to Jake's property for a barbecue. The Chinook, piloted by an old buddy of Jake's, stayed parked as a backdrop while folks ate burgers, swapped stories, and even tried the range under Jake's supervision. Kids climbed on the chopper, giggling, while Karen sulked in her McMansion. The fallout was swift. Karen's reign crumbled as neighbors, emboldened by Jake's stand, challenged her other petty rules. At the next HOA election, Maria ran for president and won in a landslide, promising a board that served the community, not egos. Karen, ostracized, put her house up for sale, muttering about ungrateful neighbors. Jake's event raised $10,000 for a local veteran charity, and his range became a neighborhood legend. He even invited the sheriff's deputies to shoot there, cementing his untouchable status. As the sun set on Willow Creek, Jake stood by his range, a cold beer in hand, watching veterans and neighbors laugh together. Maria joined him, grinning. "Think Karen learned her lesson?" Jake chuckled. "If she didn't, there's always the Apache on standby." The community was stronger, united by respect for those who'd served and a shared disdain for petty tyrants. What do you think, was Jake's epic clapback justified? Or did he go too far? Share your thoughts on who was right or wrong in the showdown.